Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 22 My Team Career Mode. This is episode number 95 today for the Italian Grand Prix in Season 6. If you guys did miss the previous one at the Belgium GP, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one, because the monsoon rain hit Spa-Francorchamps, and it was a comeback drive, as of course, following that engine failure we had 2 races ago at Silverstone, we started at the back of the grid in a full wet race. Eventually did start to dry out, and we ended that race on into slicks, where the intermediates were wearing out to the point where their own little kind of slick compound. Very, very slippery out there, very challenging. Few spins and thrills for some cars around us. Verstappen making a mistake up the hill. Magnussen having his spin at the bus stop chicane. And in the end of it, we came through to steal away P2 just on the very last lap into the last corner from Mick Schumacher. But it was all about Sebastian Vettel, who dominated that one. There's something about Vettel and Spa in this game that he just loves, and it was his first win for aarava Archer Racing, our team, of course. But of course, he's had many wins for AAR, but the first time he's won this season for that team, whilst I'm not even driving in that one, of course, as we continue this season in Ferrari. And to be honest, I'm a bit nervous now, because the next 2 races, this one included, and the next Italian GP, as we do back-to-back Italian Grand Prix from Monza to Imola, is a lot more nerve-wracking being in the scarlet red car. We've got the whole pressure of Italy on our shoulders, you know, most of the time anyway, driving for Ferrari. But even more so now that we're going to 2 home races. For the very first time in this series, we're going to be going into Italian Grand Prix feeling that Tifosi pressure of doing well in a Ferrari on home soil. So we're diving into Saturday then, Q1, looking to get through these sessions and needing to perform around here. You know, every year it's not a need, it's a must. Ferrari must try and do well at Monza, the Temple of Speed, but even Imola as well coming up. So we're going to try and get through these sessions. But we found out at Spa, it seems Aston and also our team AAR over on the other side of the pit lane, they're rapid in a straight line. They've got some great balance going on. To be fair, I did run quite high wings at Spa. We brought the wings right down now at Monza, so hopefully we can find some straight line speed. Although in Q1 I was only down in P13, Verstappen up to P1, but 7 tenths there, probably, you know, a few of those tenths attributed just to us speeding up and getting used to the circuit as we go on through the day. But Verstappen's showing the Ferrari does have some genuine good pace around here, but you know, close behind, I guess, all very tightly packed. Lando Norris in the Audi, Drugovich in AAR, Mercedes, Williams up there as well, McLaren even. So this is going to be a rather tight affair as we now go into Q2, then entering turn 1 a little bit fast into the apex, having to try and almost drift the car through Apex 1 to open up Apex 2 on the exit. But then the rest of the lap pretty neat and tidy, I think. And at the moment, a couple of people not setting such a tidy first lap as both Drugovich and Vettel. They've actually set their time and they're down in 14th and 15th, so they're going to have to go again to improve. Let's see what we can do here with this first flyer as we go towards across the line. It's going to be P3 for us, and it's 2.7 tenths behind Verstappen. That's a bit more like it. That's not too bad. And I was really happy with that lap. I thought, okay, we're sitting P3. Pretty much my job's done. Work here's done. We'll get through into Q3. Oh, I was so wrong. I was so wrong. I got way too comfortable with that time. I should have known better. After, you know, 95 episodes, I should have known, of course, the AI are going to speed up even more at the end of the session. Track evolution's going to come in, and I messed up. I messed up big time, and we're out in Q2, in the place where this is the worst possible place to be knocked out in Q2. That is a shocking... I can see the headlines in Italy right now. But ironically, it's the entire podium from Spa that is knocked out. Vettel out in P11. Mick Schumacher out in P13. So last race's fastest men all out in Q2. And it's Q3 to go for the rest of them who met into the top 10 shootout. Let's go to the grid. We have some serious making up to do on Sunday.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations, and it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes. And with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Felipe Drugovich completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Pierre Gasly and Norris, Hülkenberg, Albon, Vettel and Kevin Magnussen, the owner-driver Mick Schumacher, George Russell and Oscar Piastri. Leclerc, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo and Liam Lawson, Perez, Schwartzman, Sainz and Yuki Tsunoda. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's have a chat about Williams. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
So it may have taken a couple of races, but we're really starting to see maybe the old, proper quick Max Verstappen now back in this career mode, in this Ferrari, doing the job. No surprise, really. Pole position in the Scarlet car. He's done the job that the team needed to do, and I've not. I got too comfortable with that lap time. I don't know why it didn't go out. You know, I just thought, okay, that's fine. 2 and a bit tenths behind Verstappen. That's enough to make it through. But with maxed out cars now for every team, 2.5 tenths is not comfortable. Like, they will be going quicker than that. And I should have just remembered that and should have known that. So that's my bad. So we start this race in P11 because I believe Magnussen actually had a penalty. He's down in P10, so I don't know what kind of penalty that was. So that kind of also maybe means that Magnussen may have possibly actually had a time good enough for pole position, or at least on the front row, you know. So that's a bit surprising. So the Williams has a bit of pace there unlocked around Monza. Not surprising. In real life, they also go very well around here. But yeah, myself, Vettel and Schumacher, the 3 guys on the podium last race, have some work to do. For us individually, you know, Verstappen's up there, Alonso as well, Drugovich, so all the people we're chasing in the championship, in the driver's standings, we're going to have to try and do basically the same job we did at Spa and come back. It's a little bit easier, I guess. It's a dry race, we're only halfway down the order, and we're at a place where, you know, overtakes are going to happen, absolutely. So we've just got to get our head down and buckle down and get that speed unlocked in this car that Verstappen has shown right there in pole position. Unfortunately, that eagerness to try and make up for Saturday and jump forwards, I took a bit too literally here on the grid formation because I overshot my pit box and we are pushed back. So maybe already the pressure of those Tifosi on the left is getting to my head, but nonetheless, we're getting ready for 5 red lights to the Italian Grand Prix. Whilst driving for Ferrari, the pressure is on, lights out, and we're underway. It's an okay start versus everyone else around us. We're on the medium tyres. Vettel has opted for the softs. I think he may be one of the only people in the top 10 opting for softs. So we go to turn 1, overtake the Williams. We've been hit though. We've been hit by Ocon. What on earth was the Frenchman doing? He came out of nowhere and he already had damage as he came into turn 1, and he's broken a bit of our front wing. Our front wing's now lime green on the right hand side. That will be good enough to still carry on for pretty much the entire race. Actually, we've seen before you can drive with that amount of damage. It's fine. They've even done it in real life. Just see Leclerc back at Silverstone in 2022, but that's just not really the way we wanted to start things, because we remain, well, down in P12. We've lost a position because of what Ocon did. Meanwhile, at the front, Max Verstappen still leads this Italian Grand Prix. In the other Ferrari, Alonso snapping at the heels of Felipe Drugovich into Parabolica, and Hülkenberg side by side nearly with the Red Bull Ford of Alexander Albon. Vettel in P9, and there goes Ocon into the pits. So we're up into P11, and the damage has been done for his race in the Renault. Thank you very much for absolutely nothing there, Esteban. But we overtake Magnussen finally at turn 1 again, like we were trying on lap 1, to get up into P10 then. And, well, Vettel on the softs ahead of us as he now attacks Albon, and just can't make the move actually stick at Ascari. But the fact he's on the soft compound and no one else is means he's going to be rapid. So the plan is we're going to try and follow Vettel through these cars because he's going to be cutting through them like a hot knife through butter as Hulkenberg makes an error. A Parabolica goes wide, and in an instant the German loses a couple of positions. So we're up into P9 now. Vettel ahead of us, still trying to finish off this move on Albon. Couldn't get it done at Ascari the lap before. Can he get it done at turn 1 on the outside as late as you can on the brakes, and then takes a bit of inside curb though, so the Red Bull stays ahead for now. Probably the highest we've seen a Red Bull Ford in one of these races for a long time here, so the Ford engine clearly working well for Albon, but Vettel is on the inside. We tried to actually have our own little go at Sebastian, but the wily old fox that he's become in this series, rather than defend from me, just chose to attack Albon, and that is in turn his defense, because now we've got the Red Bull to try and overtake, and he's got a bit of breathing room to chase after his next victim up the road in P6. But we're going to power pass Albon with the DRS and plenty of battery use to get up into P8. So it's to be honest, a bit of slow progress compared to maybe the progress we were making at Spa, but we know that fighting is going to happen, and it is happening at the front, because Drugovich, we didn't see this, but he actually got into the lead of this race, and so Verstappen is actually trying to re-overtake him for the race lead, and Fernando Alonso might join the party. It's going to be 3 wide between AAR, Ferrari and Aston Martin, and Fernando Alonso looking to make a double pass into turn 1 for the lead of the race. Verstappen locked up, and Fernando Alonso, surprise, surprise, up there in P1. It's what he's done all season. Right place at the right time, and he's used all his skill and experience to get down the inside and now lead the Italian Grand Prix. Verstappen down to 3rd as Drugovich does actually re-overtake him, as we're now setting purple lap times, chasing after, Norris, who now is up in smokes. The Audi has failed Lando Norris at the worst time so early on in this race, and he's going to have to retire surely from that. So myself and Vettel both get a free position, but you can see the synergy here with myself and Sebastian Vettel. It's like season 3 and 4 all over again. We're following him through, but he's just constantly overtaking, and we're trying our best to keep up with Vettel. But at the moment, he just keeps on placing cars in between myself and him. He's now maybe going for a double pass. Will this be into turn 1? Trying to outbrake Pierre Gasly. He actually gets caught up a little bit on the inside, and we make a little bit of contact with him, just a little love tap to push him along as we try to also slip down the inside of the Frenchman, flying high right now for McLaren in P6. We switch it from left to right, trying to finish off this move as Vettel already sets his sights on the Repsol Haas ahead of him, Valtteri Bottas, and we do finish the move off on Gasly eventually as he slows himself up by clouting that quite large curb on the inside. So myself and Vettel almost working as a team, you would say. P5 and 6 now, making fantastic progress, and at this rate we're going to catch these 3 up top. It's still Fernando Alonso who leads the way in the Aston Martin then, but Verstappen has got himself back up into P2 and is now going to chase after Fernando right underneath the rear wing. The Ferrari pulls out to the right hand side of the shot and goes right round the outside at Parabolica. Brilliant move, made it look so easy, Verstappen did, and he now leads once more the Italian Grand Prix as now Vettel overtakes Bottas, and up ahead, still fighting going on where it's actually quite hard to keep up with everything because Alonso comes back at Verstappen. Drugovich trying to kind of poke his nose in there, but can't quite get involved at the moment, so he's sat back still in P3, and Vettel was actually unable to get that move finished off on Bottas into turn 1. He's going to have to try again on the outside into Ascari. Bottas not putting up too much of a fight, and he's squirming around on the rear, so wonder maybe a bit of tyre wear is just creeping in for the Repsol Haas as we make light work of him. Plenty of battery saved up for this straight into Parabolica, and we're up into the top 5 for the first time in this race. As now once again maybe a change for the race lead. Felipe Drugovich has got up into P2. He's woken up a little bit, maybe heard me in the comm box, because now he's making a move for P1. Alonso defended well though on the outside of Parabolica, and it may be just another 3 wide moment. Verstappen just doesn't have the room though to make it 3 wide, and instead here comes Sebastian Vettel down the inside of 1, 2, 3 cars. Vettel is into P1 by a nose. He's just tried to make a triple overtake and he's almost made it work. Alonso comes back at him. It's like 2011 all over again. Through the curve, Alonso on the inside though holds the ground, but take a bow. Sebastian Vettel, he's been reignited again in this series. That was like the Vettel from season 3 and 4, absolutely. Dive bombed, and he nearly tried to make a triple overtake work. He still made a double overtake on Verstappen and Drugovich, his teammate. Oh my word, this Italian Grand Prix has come alive, and we're getting involved now because Vettel does overtake Alonso, and in a copycat move, we do the same thing to his teammate, go round the outside into Ascari, and we're now all of a sudden into P4 and watching Verstappen and Alonso go side by side. So Vettel on the soft tyre, the only man on the softs in the top 10, has taken the lead, and now he comes into the pits. The damage is done. He's going to get an undercut now, and I suspect he may even go onto medium tyres, so it might be advantage Vettel in this race, but at the moment we continue on and we're trying to get our own overtakes done on Alonso and Verstappen. It was momentarily 3 wide, Alonso giving us a good squeeze onto the grass as we all continue on these mediums a lot longer into the Grand Prix, but this fighting is going to help Vettel inadvertently as we now try and overtake our teammate. Verstappen puts up a stern defense. We go for the switchback from left to right and finally get up into P2, but now that's given Alonso a bit of breathing room, but we'll catch that back up in no time. And now we're breathing down the neck of Fernando, the championship leader, gaining Alonso defending the inside line. We're on the outside. We give him a good old squeeze into turn 1. He comes back at us. We almost make contact. First gear needed to turn the car in. Alonso gets the better traction point though on the racing line, so we're back down to P2. Have to re-engage with this fight. Can we go to the outside? It'll turn to the inside for the next corner. Surely the better place to be. Alonso, oh, he's turned into us. Alonso, for the second time this season, has just plain out not given us any room. All the time, you have to leave it a space, Fernando. What is going on, man? What is going on? That was absurd. He just turned into us like we weren't even there. We were at least halfway alongside him. Well, I'm sorry, if that was me and that was an AI on the inside, I would be turning out to give them some room. But no, Alonso just thought, if I don't think he's there, he's not going to be there. But I was, and we've been spun round. We got caught up on the sausage curb. We had to spin ourselves round in reverse on the grass. And just like the Monaco Grand Prix incident, Alonso just fails to see us on the inside to his left. I mean, we aren't fully alongside, but we're enough. Our tyre is where his side pod is, so I think that's enough for him to give us the room. But he just turns in like we're not even there, and that's why I got caught up on the sausage curb, because we got squeezed so much. And so now we're down in P12, fending off Carlos Sainz. Vettel's only 5.6 seconds behind us, having made his pit stop, and he's on to mediums, and oh my god, we've got damage. I didn't even know we had damage. I went on for one more lap because my engineers didn't tell me about that damage. Usually you think they have a radio cord, so no wonder we've got a bit of understeer now to some of these left-handers, because our front right of the front wing is pretty badly damaged. Yellow pretty much means you have to change that, so we're going to pit in this lap. I'm going to go for a very, very bold call and come in onto the soft compound tyre. It's more than halfway of this Grand Prix to go, but because we didn't go into Q3, I've actually got a new set of softs. So a new set may just about last us to the end of the Grand Prix, but the front wing change is going to hurt us, let alone the time we've lost in the spin. And oh no, the team hasn't done it. The team, what? Oh, Ferrari! What are you doing? Ferrari, no, this can't be. You haven't changed the wing! Ferrari! No! At Monza! Of all places, they've had a howler. Why did they not change the wing? I think it was on auto on the heads-up display, but I'm sorry. If you look at that screen on the right, that yellow wing, in what universe does auto say that we don't need to change that wing? Come on! So we've now made our pit stop, the one and only one, technically, of this race, unless we have to come in again for this wing. I don't know, we're kind of almost forced to now drive with this broken wing for the rest of the race. Thankfully, at the moment, because the soft tyres have that much grip, we are actually going quicker than our previous laps. We re-overtake a couple of cars, and we're into P15 now once again in this race. And also at the same time, because of that pit stop and the lack of the front wing change, I was driving with so much anger at the moment. My blood was boiling at the moment that we didn't get a front wing change and have to go the rest of the race with a broken wing. So we are just taking no crap from anyone. We're just going to plow through everyone as quickly as we can. And we can do that because the soft tyres at the moment have so much overwhelming grip and pace. It means the front wing damage isn't as bad at the moment. And in a straight line, of course, the car is all fine, so we're powering past these guys. To be fair, out of all the races, this might be the best one in terms of, you know, there's just a lot of straights and less corners to work with, so it could have been so much worse. If this was at Monaco, this would have been like a race retirement sort of scenario, but instead we are taking absolutely no prisoners and driving with the red mist here in the red car. 2 overtakes in 1. Drugovic struggling on the hard tyres, maybe with some damage of his own. I don't know how he's ended up down here in P12. And we set a fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And that is not to say Ferrari made the right call, not wasting time with the front wing change. That fastest lap is out of pure anger and straight line speed. So I'm not letting the engineers off. I would have much rather have had the front wing change, in all honesty. Because if we are to recover in this race, at the end of it, when these soft tyres do go off, I'll be wishing I had that extra downforce on the front end. But all of a sudden, we are actually into the points in P9, but it's still nowhere near, you know, around the realms of a podium that we were aiming for pre the spin. So we've just got to kind of limit the damage now on these soft tyres versus hard. You know, it helps that most of the grid have chosen the hard compound, so we're 2 compounds quicker than everyone, apart from the likes of Sebastian Vettel, who at the moment is absolutely demolishing the competition. He's nearly 11 seconds now ahead of this man, P2 Verstappen, who is still ingrained in a fight with Fernando Alonso. Now for second place on the road. It looks like Vettel may have this win signed, sealed and delivered, but Verstappen and Alonso fighting for crucial points for second place, and Fernando gets ahead into second place behind Bottas versus Magnussen and Schwartzman. So the Williams find itself in a top 5 position, sandwiched in the Repsol Haas, and there we are in P7, having made an overtake on Gasly, and this is that overtake. It was happening at the same time as that fight between Alonso and Verstappen, so we'll just show you it after the fact. So that was me going through and overtaking Gasly on the inside of Parabolic. You can see on the front end, because of the tyres, I've actually still got that very nice turn in, but you'll notice ever so subtly on every left-hander, I'm having to maybe turn a little bit more just to kind of preempt the lack of downforce there as we go very wide at the exit of Ascari and squeeze out Magnussen to get up into P6. And pretty much, to be honest, most of this driving and speed we've got is just fueled by pure anger. If anything, ironically, maybe I should be driving angry most of the time, because when I do, I just zone in so much because I'm so frustrated at what happened. But we get up into the top 5 now, so long may we continue this streak that we've had since Season 5 of being in the top 5. Every single race we've managed to finish and cross the line ahead of us. Verstappen now is being overtaken by Bottas. What's going on here? Oh no, this is a disaster. In our home race, Verstappen's now down to P4. We've gone from having a man on pole and both of us fighting for the win to now the Ferraris are down here in P4 and 5. Verstappen comes back at him but can't overtake.
You have damage to the rear diffuser. Performance will be noticeably worse beyond this point.
Oh, come on, give me a break. I've now got diffuser damage from somewhere. It must have been over a curb when I was wringing the neck out of this thing. Okay, great. So we've now got front wing damage, and for the rest of the race, we've got diffuser damage, which won't help our rear end either. So we've got damage on both ends of the car, as Verstappen now on lap 23 is going to try and repass Bottas for the elusive last spot on the podium. Alonso's pulling away a bit, so he may just be sealing second place, I think, because Bottas is pretty damn handy in the Repsol Haas in a straight line, but Verstappen, the third time of asking, or fourth time rather, this will be on the inside. Oh, Bottas locks up. Bottas goes straight off, nearly onto the grass actually, so Bottas with a big mistake there, and he's down to P4 as Magnussen is fighting to stay ahead of the McLaren of Gasly in P6, but front wing damage, diffuser damage, we've still got a bit of pace left in this car to overtake Bottas, who I suspect himself may have maybe shot his tyres or car in the fight with Verstappen, because he's not that quick. Verstappen's already 1 second, 2 seconds in fact ahead of Bottas as we do overtake him. But now with 3 laps to go, I am very concerned about those tyres, you know. Look at that rear left tyre as we go on towards the last lap of the Grand Prix. It's at 84%, so very peculiar to have only one tyre like this worn out, but I'm very worried because we're well over the region where now we're in puncture territory. This left rear tyre, that could puncture at any given moment, because once you get over, I think, about 75% tyre wear, there's just random RNG of a puncture happening. So I'm a bit concerned now. We're on the last lap of the Grand Prix and we are taking it easy into most of the corners, just trying to stay off the curbs on the left hand side of the car to try and protect that left rear and trying to just stay on for this P4. But we've got so many cars behind us: Bottas, Magnussen, Gasly, Schwartzman, all of them vying to overtake me like piranhas, snapping at the heels. But ahead of us, well, this kind of tyre issue and the car damage as well has given Verstappen a lot of breathing room, as well as Alonso as well. But this is the man of the hour, Sebastian Vettel. He won at Spa and he's winning in Monza. Sebastian Vettel gets back-to-back wins in Season 6 for aarava Archer Racing. Take a bow. Vettel, from being knocked out in Q2, wins this Italian Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso, ever the consistent man this season, a very solid P2 for Aston Martin, gains points on myself, Verstappen and Felipe Drugovich. We just about hobble to the end of this race. 91% tyre wear on that rear left tyre. A couple more laps and that would have punctured for sure. We have dragged this broken wagon of a car to P4 in some very unfortunate circumstances and made the most of it. What a mental Italian Grand Prix that was.
Here we are then, a thoroughly deserved win in Italy after another excellent Grand Prix. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
We're at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
We've seen it before, what happens when Vettel's AI gets a win and gets that momentum. He's won again. Who's to say he's not going to make a similar charge to the one he did in Season 3 and in Season 4 and in Season 5 indeed. You know, Vettel, in this game, in this series, when he starts winning, he has a knack for it and has a knack for consistency of getting on podiums, getting top fives. So I think this is Sebastian Vettel announcing himself of trying to chase after for another Drivers' Championship, you know. Drugovich, his more junior teammate, has had the measure of him all season, but now Vettel leading aarava Archer Racing as the de facto team principal in this season, having ourselves left the team for Ferrari. He is leading this team to some great heights, because after that win and the win at Spa, and with us down in P4, Alonso, you know, 18 points, so 7 less, Vettel all of a sudden is up into the top 3 of the championship. Alonso still leads the way and actually grows his cushion to 17 points. So he's looking pretty damn great still, actually, in that Aston Martin. But look at that. Alonso, Verstappen, Vettel, myself. That's 2 world championships, 2 world championships, 6 world championships, and 1 world championship. That is unreal. That is 11 Drivers' World Championships between the top 4 in this drivers' standings. That is unbelievable in this alternate F1 universe of ours. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. The cream rises to the top most of the time in Formula 1, and it is doing so right now in Season 6. But our team, aarava Archer Racing, they're chasing down the team I'm currently at, Ferrari. We're only 4 points ahead of them in the standings. So Vettel and Drugovich, they are coming for Ferrari. And myself and Verstappen, we've done quite well to finish 3rd and 4th there, you know, with all the issues both of us faced today. But we've got another home race coming up to try and make up for it. And oh boy, do I want to make up for what just happened today, because I've not forgotten that spin from Fernando's pinch. That was just not on, but we made the most of it in that thrilling Italian Grand Prix. Guys, if you have enjoyed this one, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. We're now into the second half of Season 6, and it is very much heating up, and it is go time. Till the next one, goodbye.